All right. Good morning, Rumble. How we doing today, guys? It is Firearms Friday, and I've got some news this morning before we get into DGUs. This one, this is something I'm looking for, guys. This is the kind of stuff that I want to see everywhere. Y'all ready for this? Texas gun buyback ban one step away from becoming law. Oh, shit. A bill that would prohibit counties and cities from hosting gun buyback programs won final approval in the legislature on Wednesday, and now it's up to Governor Greg Abbott to enshrine the measure into Lone Star state law. Okay, so basically, Texas is waiting on Hot Wheels to sign the law that says, hey, no more buyback plans. Now, there's a Brandon Herrera has famously done some great work with the buyback programs. He and there, take you back about 8 months. There was actually some buzz that Brandon Herrera, the AK guy, just might become the ATF director, and it didn't turn out that way, which is a pity. But uh, thank God, that would have been awesome. But he has famously done a bit where he goes to gun buybacks with basically a duffel bag full of cash and just approaches people in line and says, "Hey, you're here to sell a gun back. You're here to sell back your gun, right?" And okay, yeah. So what are they paying for guns? Oh, they're going to give me $100 for my long gun, and a lot of the people showing up for these gun buybacks, there's a lot of criticism to be leveled here. The but what he does, he goes up. So what are they offering? Oh, they're offering $100 or $150 for my rifle. Oh, well, okay. Here's 200. Will you take it? Hell yeah! And he'll go and buy 20 or 30 guns like that. Uh, and hell yeah, I'm tempted to do it myself. But we don't have gun buyback programs in the deep south where I live. So we just don't see that down here. Now we did see one in Rockdale County when I was still living there. This was several years ago, and we went and covered it. Did a show about it, and it was, I think, possibly the most alarming thing about it is that the police officers, the sheriff's deputies that were there running the program, as we interviewed them and talked to them and asked them questions about it, uh, these sheriff's deputies, it was mind blowing to hear them. They seem to honestly believe that a gun buyback program would somehow reduce gun crime. And it's just like, I mean, this is one of those just no-brainers that's for some reason difficult to cram to get into the head of these lefties. Nobody who has an illegal firearm for the purpose of doing crime is going to come and sell you their illegal firearm. Right? And it's not just the issue of, we're talking about criminals who are interested in doing crime, right? There's a whole other piece here. I am not a criminal. I'm a law-abiding citizen, mostly, but I have a very, very clean background check, right? I've got one of those background checks that's so clean there's holes in it. But if I want to go buy a gun, it's no problem. They run the background check and, oh, thank you for your service, and take your pick. Uh, so there's no difficulty for me to go purchase a firearm. Now, if you're a criminal, if you're the sort of person who is set to acquire a firearm for the purpose of using it in crime, that main avenue is closed to you. Now, I could also, as a law-abiding civilian with a clean background check, I could indeed also choose to go and purchase a firearm illegally. Not that I would, but the point being, I have both avenues open to me. I can go find somebody who will sell me a gun illegally, or I can go to a gun store or a gun show like the one we're going to tomorrow. By the way, there's a gun show at the Loganville American Legion tomorrow, and I will be there from sometime in the morning to sometime in the afternoon. And if that ends up being 11 to 1, we'll see what happens. We're going to get there as early as we can and hang out for a while and visit with some friends and buy some bullets. So yeah, if you happen to be a vendor at the gun show, you might want to wave me down because I'm gonna be throwing a little money tomorrow at some ammunition. But for the criminal, they have a limited number of avenues to approach. They have to purchase their firearm illegally. And I hate to admit that what I've just said actually sounds like a reasonable argument for criminal background checks. Now, let me be clear. I absolutely oppose background checks. Background checks are a tacit fascia violation of the Second Amendment. But forget that for a second. Let's stick on the topic of the buyback programs. I saw a comment here a second ago. Here you go. Okay, Patrick Brown. So Patrick, I'm going to give you a little pushback there. The shall not be infringed is pretty clear. I agree. Shall not be infringed is pretty clear. But in all fairness, that's not actually at issue when you're talking about a buyback program, because for all the criticisms that are absolutely legitimate, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpayer money. Buyback programs are a net negative. Buyback programs make America less safe because with a buyback program, you are only disarming lawful, law-abiding citizens. You are not disarming criminals. Period. The idea that you're taking more guns off the street, so there's less chance that there's fewer guns out there for people to steal. No. Just no. But as far as the Second Amendment argument goes, and this is the closest I can get to a positive comment on the topic. The Second Amendment argument, the buybacks are voluntary. So far. Now, also fair play. Let's not forget, Australia had their gun buyback program, and that program was not voluntary. That was a mandatory gun buyback. You were required, if you had a firearm, to come and sell it back to the government. And of course, there's a piece of criticism that needs to be addressed right there. They are called gun buybacks. Let's be very clear. You did not purchase your firearm from the government. You did not purchase it from the sheriff's department. You did not purchase it from whatever communist organization is running the gun buyback. Right? Because that's what you've got. You've got your sheriff's department or some mechanism of local government, or some communist, anti-American NGO, charity, nonprofit, what have you, like what is it, Anytown USA or the Mothers Against Gun Violence, one of those groups. B. Controversial says, "Yep, Australia was confiscation with a minor bit of return on value." Yeah, basically, the gun buyback in Australia worked kind of like land distribution in South Africa. It was, here's some pennies so that you could feel like you weren't entirely uncompensated when we, at threat of violence, confiscated your private property so that it could be redistributed into the hands of the communist ravening horde. So the gun buyback is always a bad thing. If a gun buyback happens in your community has become less safe because fewer citizens are prepared to defend themselves in the event of a catastrophic failure of just basic human decency interaction. And so, yeah, every time a gun buyback happens, your community has been made less safe. And y'all, if you got the time to take off work and do a little protesting, organize a little bit of a picket sign protest demonstration, going to a gun buyback with signs that say this is making our community less safe is not a bad idea. That's a pretty good one. Here's the thing about something like that. You need to have a handful of people, at least a dozen or so, and one of them needs to be running a camera, doing a live stream. And if you're going to do something like that, I also highly recommend low-cost body cameras. In fact, you know what? While I'm saying that, let me pull up. I've got a body camera that I wear when I'm doing the real estate photography stuff. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll show you guys which one I use, and I'll tell you why I use this one. I've actually got a couple of them. I wear a body camera for certain shoots because what I do not need is to enter a vacant house to shoot photography, and then somebody suddenly say, "Hey man, my Rolex is missing." No, the fuck it's not. Bullshit. Here we go. So I wear this body camera. Come on. I wear this body camera when I'm doing shoots. When I'm doing some shoots. Precisely for my protection, so that if somebody, so that I don't get called out and not have something to back myself up. I've got that one, and it kind of sits like a name tag with it's got the little magnet on it, and it's super easy to operate, so it doesn't draw a lot of attention to itself. It'd be nice if it was a little smaller, and I might actually shop for a smaller one. But yeah, that's a good one if you got a reason for it. Check it out. And while we're on that topic, this is a bit of an aside. If you haven't already, guys, get a dash cam. Put a dash cam in your cars. Right? It's probably been about 2 years now. I got pulled over by a sheriff's deputy in Rockdale County. And he said, "You know why I pulled you over?" And what did I say? Aaron Olson, I did post it. You should see it here. Here it is again. That's the link right there. There you go. Pulled me over. What do you say when the cop asks you, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" The answer to that question is not, "I don't answer questions." That's the next thing you say. The answer to the question, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" is always, 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 "No. I have no idea." Because I can tell you from experience, I got pulled over with an expired tag one time, and the officer asked me, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I knew damn well my tag was expired because I had failed my emissions test and was waiting for payday to get the van fixed so that I could pass the emissions test and pay the tag tax and get my sticker so it would be expired anymore. But you have to keep driving to go to work to make the money to fix the thing to pay the tax. And he said, "You know why I pulled you over?" I said, "Nope, I have no idea." He said, "Well, you failed to use your left turn signal when you turned at the light back there." I said, "Oh, well, officer, I apologize. That my mistake. I don't know what happened. I'm usually pretty good about using my turn signals, officer." And he said, "You just make sure you pay attention. I'll let you off with a warning. Make sure you use your turn signal." And that was in the middle of, I was a teenager. It was the middle of the night, and I went directly to the Walmart, and which this was before COVID. So for those of you youngsters that don't remember, Walmart used to be open 24 hours a day. And I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure I used my turn signal. Turn signal was out. I went to Walmart, replaced turn signal. Didn't get a ticket for the expired tag. Right? So this other time, about 2 years ago, I'm driving. I've got my daughter in the car with me. I was taking her to a Girl Scout thing. Cop pulls me over. And he asks, "Why? You know why I pulled you over?" "Nope, no idea." And this time I actually had no idea, because I knew my lights were good. I knew my tag was good. I knew I used my turn signal. I knew I wasn't speeding. He said, "Well, we got a hands-free law in the state of Georgia. You can't use your cell phone while you're driving." Officer, I did not use my cell phone while I was driving. "Oh yeah, I saw you with your cell phone up in front of your face like this." What? "You've been behind me since the traffic light, right? I just turned left at a traffic light 100 yards ago, and I'm driving a manual transmission. Which hand, the one on the shifter or the one on the wheel, did you see me handling a cell phone with?" "Well, sir, no, I saw you holding your cell phone up in here." "No, my cell phone is mounted on the dashboard with the Maps app pulled up, as is explicitly permitted under the hands-free law that you're addressing. I was not holding my phone." "No, sir, that's what I saw. I saw you holding your phone. Hand steering wheel, hand shifter, no hands left for phone. And by the way, officer, there's a dash cam here, and it's got everything from the time you came up behind me to right now. You're a goddamn liar." "Well, sir, you don't have to use that. No. I'm going to use that language, because here's the fact. You just made up some bullshit to pull me over and waste my time so that you could fish for something else, because you knew goddamn well I didn't have a cell phone in my hand. You just figured it'd be my word against yours, and you could lie through your fucking teeth and hang me on some bullshit. So guys, go get you a dash camera, so that when you have to call a cop a liar, you can prove it." Gun buybacks. I'm sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, because that's one of those things. I don't get pulled over often, because I drive an old pickup truck, and I don't drive fast, and I drive in the country where, frankly, there aren't a lot of cops. But I can't think of one time in the last 20, 25 years that I've been pulled over for anything that wasn't absolute bullshit. And if they're going to come at you with a pretextual garbage, then be prepared. Aaron is asking for a dash cam. Sergeant Major's asking for a dash cam. I've got a few different dash cams, and I'm going to tell you, I'm actually going to recommend this one. This is the one that I bought most recently. Hang on. Come on. And I'm going to give you, since we're doing this, okay. Here's the dash cam. Liberty Girl says, "I thought dash cams pointed outward." Actually, funny you should mention that. Here, let me show you the one that I'm suggesting. And yeah, get you one of these kind of dash cams. If you don't get this one, get one like it. You'll see on this one, when it's mounted, you've got the monitor right in the middle where you can see what you're looking at, where you can see where the cameras are pointed. And then there's cameras on either side of it. And then this is what the front of it, damn it. This is what the front of it looks like. See, there's 3 cameras on this thing. One of them points straight out the front of your vehicle, and it's a very wide angle. So you get you get that very wide angle and catch everything. And then the 2 cameras on the left and right in my truck and in my van, I've got one of those cameras pointed so that it basically frames up the driver on the right side of the image and the whole driver's side window, so that if a cop walks up to the window, we're both on camera, and these are recording the audio as well. So you're getting everything. So if the cop says something that you want to hang him in court on, you've got it recorded. So if you're going to get a dash cam, and I highly recommend it, this is the one to get. And then I'm going to make one more recommendation along with that. This little toy right here is called a Fit DVR dash cam. I'm going to drop the link to this one, but I want you to know that this particular piece, this device, you need to get the right piece of equipment. This one is for certain Ford model vehicles, and it lists the compatible devices right here. But if you use this link to go to it, what this is it plugs in to up, and this is on the newer vehicles where there's some kind of electronic mechanism in your rear view mirror. For a lot of these dash cams, pay attention when you buy them. They come with either a very long USB cable so that you can plug them into power in, like your cigarette lighter charger, or the onboard USB plugs or whatever. But that means that you have to take that cable and you have to route it, from behind where you mounted it behind the mirror and down along the inside of the windshield and all that. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. With this thing, you can plug it into the back of the camera. I'm sorry, of the mirror. If you've got any kind of electronic mirror, the newer vehicles that have like heads-up displays or whatever on the mirrors, and that way you don't have to route the cable all around the inside of the cab. Makes it much easier to install one. My old 2001 F-150 doesn't have anything in the mirror, so I had to route the cable for that one. And it's not that much trouble, and it's worth taking the trouble to get it done. But this thing, the dash cam power adapter, is great for that. But if you go there and look at it, it'll give you the list of compatible devices. Like I said, this one is for Ford, Mustangs, Broncos, F-150s, Expeditions, the basic Fords. So you'll have to double check and make sure that you're getting the one for your car. And hey, Aaron, even if you have to run the cable, brother, it's worth it. It's worth it. Go ahead and go to the trouble to get it done. If for no other reason than sometimes funny shit happens, and you want to be able to go back and watch it when funny shit happens. So I'll give you a good example of that. A couple months ago, let me see if I can find it real quick. Doobie-doobie-doo. That's his latest. Y'all forgive me a little dead air, and I'll get you a video up here and show you some dash cam stuff. Did I not put this on the Brushfire Mind? Did I? I think I may have put it on. Okay. Bear with me. I may have put it on East Atlanta Video. I wouldn't have done that, would I? Nope, I didn't. Okay, I know I'm stumbling into dead air right now. Let me Let me check one more spot real quick and see if and then I'll show you this. I'll show you this little video. There, I knew I put it on BFM. Okay, damn it. Okay, I usually don't let my wife and kids appear on the show beyond one of the youngins coming in to give me a hug. But here you go. What you need, guys.
Oh, we just hit you. Oh my god. Oh dear. Oh wow. Oh my god. Oh man. Wow. You really do have panic brain. Call Christopher Lowry.
And see, this is a good one too, because you can see here.
The car's not.
You can see here what I was talking about. Here's one camera pointed at the driver and the driver's window. The other camera pointed back through the back of the van, so that you can see the rest of the people in the vehicle. And then, of course, the camera that actually captures the front, so that you can see where the deer actually hits. Right there. And right here you can see that's all three cameras. Right? So all three cameras are constantly recording. That's I had not intended this episode this morning to just be a sales pitch for dash cams. So yeah, buy you a dash cam, and then the little part that I showed you makes it easier to install one. Let's do a couple of DGUs before I wrap this one up. I'll say this last thing about the Texas gun buyback ban. It will still be possible for private organizations to run gun buybacks after Hot Wheels signs this bill, but tax dollars will no longer be available for gun buybacks to be operated in the state of Texas. And Governor Kemp, if you had one testicle left, you would do the same thing in Georgia. You would ban gun buybacks in the state of Georgia. If I had my way, the 28th Amendment would be, hey, shall not be infringed. Go piss up a rope. No more, no more. See the second. I'm also a big fan of the right to keep and bear chickens amendment. But that's comedy of another grade there. So let's get to what was the best looking headline? I'm gonna, there we go. Because Mario's not here this morning, I'm gonna do a Florida man without him. And this one I'm hoping gets clipped because I haven't read the article yet, but I read the headline. Florida man dies in police shooting after swimming in lake full of alligators and attempting to assault responding officers. Guys, this happened on the 25th. So what was that, Monday? Sunday. This was this past Sunday. Timothy Schultz's previous mugshot photo of the scene of where he was fatally shot. Oh, we've got a photo. Let me switch back over. That is a Florida man for you right there, my guys. All right. So, need to know, a man in Florida was shot and killed by the police after he allegedly swam in a lake full of alligators and attempted to assault the responding officers. Timothy Schultz, who had a long history of legal run-ins, was fatally struck by the police in the early hours of May 26th. In a press briefing, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said that Schultz appeared to be on drugs at the time of the incident. No shit. Aaron says Florida man added again. Let me just address that real quick. we get a lot of crazy stories out of Florida. And let's be real, a lot of it has to do with meth, right? There's a lot of meth in Florida, a lot of hookers in Florida. But, the actual origin of the Florida man stories is this. Florida has a uniquely generous legal policy on access to certain public records related to charging documents, where it's more difficult to get your hands on some of the charging documents in other states, in almost all other states. It's not impossible, and a lot of these documents are, I forget the details of it, but basically it's just easier to get your hands on the police records related to the crazy people stories in Florida than it is in the rest of the country. So those stories, because they're easier to get, there's a handful of journalists who realized that fact and have been abusing it to get their hands on good stories quickly and easily. And so, at least in part, the crazy people from Florida idea has to do with access to information about crazy people in Florida more than the actual number of additional crazy people. Excuse me. So, in a press briefing, Polk County Sheriff said it appeared to be drugs at the time. 42-year-old man in Florida was fatally shot after surviving a swim through a lake full of alligators and allegedly attempting to assault police officers who responded to the scene. On Monday 26th, Timothy Schultz died after members of the Polk County Sheriff's Office opened fire on him. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said during a press briefing that was live streamed on Facebook. Judd said that his officers were first alerted about Schultz that day when they received a call about him around 5:56 a.m. At the time, the 911 caller described him as being bizarre and shaking while at a local racetrack. Responding officers were unable to find him when they arrived at the track approximately 3 minutes after the call came in. Judd said that a search for Schultz went on for around half an hour before it was called off. Timothy Schultz is in a previous mugshot. Oh, okay. And then a second call about Schultz came in around 7:43 in the morning. In it, a witness described him as this white guy, noting that he was in a lake with a lot of alligators. Judge said that the caller was concerned that Schultz was drunk or high or something. Schultz reportedly refused a life preserver, which a witness offered him. Another reportedly ran away from the lake after Schultz growled at them. Our deputies immediately arrived, Judge said, noting that Schultz was able to get out of the lake and did appear to have sustained an injury to his arm. As they were arriving, he was walking from the lake between the houses, and he had a set of garden shears with him. Jesus Christ. The deputies allegedly witnessed Schultz attempting to break into a car by throwing a brick at the window. At the time, they attempted to arrest him using non-lethal measures. However, their attempts were unsuccessful, and he immediately charged the deputies holding the shears. Judd alleged, recalling a conversation with a witness. Schultz was hit with a taser but continued to approach. Once he tried to reach into the police car in an apparent attempt to steal one of their firearms, the police opened fire. Judd said that he was shot multiple times, adding, as a result, Timothy is deceased. Timothy had him a bad day. Damn, this article goes on. Okay. He addressed the media in a press briefing. Want to keep up. He tried to assault my deputies with shears. Then he jumped into their vehicle, which is an armed burglary, with the shears trying to get the rifle and or the shotgun out. At that moment in time, all the warnings had to stop and the action had to begin. And that's when they shot him enough to stop the threat. I'm liking the sheriff, Judge said, noting that a witness to the incident allegedly thought that officers should not have waited as long to escalate to lethal force. The deadly shooting is under investigation, and the two officers involved are on standard administrative leave until it is completed. And this, again, by the way, is another good reason to wear a body camera and to have a dash camera, right? Cameras, yeah, you know, there's going to be an investigation, and when you could say, well, he came charging at me with a pair of garden shears, so I shot him. Here's the video. Oh, well, that's pretty clear. Crazy knife murderer ends in death by victim. Cool. Schultz reportedly had a long criminal history in the area, with judge saying that he had multiple prior run-ins. Most recently, he was arrested in April 2025 and was only released on May 20th. His previous legal troubles involved his use of methamphetamines. Oh, really? Per a press release shared with People, Schultz's arrest at the time stemmed from possession of meth. Regarding the incident, Judge Judd stressed that his officers responded the best way and that he had no regrets. We're going to shoot you just enough so you don't want to ever do that again. that belongs on a t-shirt. Police, we're going to shoot you until you don't want to do it again. Oh, he also stressed the dangers that drugs like meth pose to users. He swam a long way across this lake, and the fact that he was bitten by an alligator significantly and still continued his rampage is shocking, Judd said. But if you're on enough meth, then the person you see is not the person attacking. Holy shit. Guys, I'm going to do something. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to do something kind of crazy with this. Let's play a fun game, and then I'll wrap this show up. Paul, you saw me do something like this the other day. Not quite on this level, but you saw something a little different. But here's the idea. I just copied everything from the story. Here's ChatGPT. Turn the following news article into a script for a short film in the Standard Writers Guild of America script format. Post the article. I'm going to hit the thing. Y'all, this is I'm about to hit y'all with something. Oh, it might take too long, but okay. Yeah, it's going to take too long to compile that, but I'm going to do that right now. So as soon as I close out the show, I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm going to take that script and I'm going to put it into a different AI and see if I can't turn that into a short film. If I can get that done, I'll publish it as soon as I can get it done. We'll see how that turns out. That'll be freaking amazing. This may be more fun than a person should be allowed to have. So, it's a little after 8. I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it right there. Guys, thanks for watching this morning. We really do appreciate you. I will make sure to tune in tomorrow evening at 2100 for the behind the paywall, the live exclusive members only. The live exclusive members only segment at 2100 tomorrow evening. We look forward to seeing you there. As usual, when we go live tomorrow evening, we'll be live on all platforms for about 10 minutes before we switch over to behind the paywall. Give a chance for some people to get in. And if we've got enough people that make the jump from YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, X, locals everywhere over to Rumble, then we'll give away a handful of free premium memberships and see if we can't boost those numbers a little bit. And yeah, I think tomorrow night's going to be a great episode. We haven't announced what it's going to be about. Waco. But you should see the link to go and watch it starting early tomorrow morning before I leave to go to the gun show. I am going to a gun show this weekend. It is gun show season, guys, so here's your safety brief. When you go to the gun show, as much as the gun show loophole is a myth, mind your business. And know what you're looking for before you get there. Right? Now, if you just want to go and sightsee, I get it, and that's legit. That's fine. But if you got a lot of money in your pocket, know what you're looking for when you go in there. Okay? So, y'all be safe out there this weekend. Don't drive drink. Don't fry bacon naked. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow evening at 2100. Mario's not here, so ciao. Oh, and yeah, Dad, I'm not going to stick around. I'm not going to stay live and do the build thing live on air because it's just going to be a bunch of compiling stuff. So, yeah, I'll get it done. I'll see how it turns out, and if it's good, then I'll publish it. But it's still sitting here compiling, so I'm about to walk away and go go take the trash out. Gotta take a ride to the dump and then go shoot some houses. Love you guys. Be good.